Oh, wizards, how you take my scruples with your schemes, but I can't help it. I'm a sucker for crossover events, and the Universes Beyond catalog of cards is no exception. Whether it be Fallout or Warhammer 40,000, anytime they print something that's from somewhere else and I get an expansion of the card game I like with other properties I like, I can't help it, man. I get sucked right into the scheme just like everybody else. And recently, we also happened to get a preview of some of those Universe Beyond cards, specifically the Final Fantasy ones, and I'm real excited about it. So today, on Dynamic Entry, I want to talk about what we've seen so far and give my own speculations and thoughts on how the rest of the cards may shake out, maybe some color ideas, my own thoughts and hopes and whatnot. Let's just get started. Okay, so some background, right? Universes Beyond is a project that's going on in Magic the Gathering where other brands are able to bring their IPs and characters and settings into Magic the Gathering, into a collectible card playing format that can be further sold and consumed by the wider world. Not every company has a game or some type of media attached to it. So I think this is really good in some instances to get some further brand exposure. And in other instances, for stuff like Fallout, I'm a really big fan of the Fallout franchise. Though outside of the recent, Amazon show, there isn't really a lot that we ever get from that sphere. So while I get that the cash grabby nature of Universe Beyond can be a little off-putting, you got to understand it is kind of nice to get, the stuff that we like packaged in this way, at least for fans like myself. When it comes to the Final Fantasy stuff, it seems that they're going to go the same approach that they've gone with like the Marvel cards and the Warhammer 40,000 cards, where they're actually getting full detailed card arts that aren't actually just like art retrains. The Godzilla cards unfortunately got that treatment with the Layer of Ikoria set, I think it was, or like Beast of Ikoria, I want to say it was like 2022, 2023. Those cards were not actually brand new cards. It was more like the Godzilla art just on top of other cards. Like Zalortha, I think, is the one that's actually like Godzilla itself. That kind of sucked, if you asked me. So getting to see the reveal of cards like Cloud, as well as Terra today, I think those are the two that come off the top of the head. Oh, and Y'shtola too. Getting to see those cards and actually like reading their full card effects and seeing that even the flavor text or the ability text in their cards references the games themselves, very cool. All right, sorry, I'm gonna look a little bit on the phone here because I literally, these cards came out the day of the recording of this video. I haven't had a ton of time to look at all of them. First one is Cloud, ex-soldier. He is Naya, which is red, green, white for the color association. He has haste, which means he can attack without summoning sickness. And I like the way that he's set up. It's equipment based, so you can attach an equipment that you have existing on the field onto him to give him a power boost right out the gate. And then whenever Cloud attacks, you can draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then, if Cloud has a power of 7 or greater, which I think is a reference to his swords, because I think the Omniblade is like 7 swords fused together, you create 2 treasure tokens. That kind of seems like victory in battle to me. I think that's very cool. Flavor text win on that one. It looks good. I mean, the art looks good. I believe he's the head of one of the decks, of one of the commander's decks himself. Yeah. So, these are all the commanders.
These are the 4.
Oh, well, there you go. So these are the 4 commanders that we're getting in the set. The next one that we have is Titus. I'm not surprised. And I was kind of interested in talking about Yuna a little bit later, so we'll get to that. Titus, Yuna's guardian. He is green, white, blue. At the beginning of the combat on your turn, you may move a counter from a target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. Ooh. That does not say us. That could just be a counter. That could be a different type of counter too. Okay. And then Cheer. Whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Ooh, I like that. So you could move a counter and then make another one and then move. Oh, okay. not bad. He doesn't survive a bolt test, but I mean, he only costs 3 mana, so having like 3 toughness is not, that's not the worst slot in life. He's got good colors anyway. We have Y'shtola. I was really excited to see Y'shtola when I first heard that they were doing the Final Fantasy thing. I thought maybe they were only going to do like the mainline games, or maybe just like the original Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 7, and then like maybe Final Fantasy 10. So seeing Y'shtola from Final Fantasy 14, I'm actually like super excited about that, and I'm hoping that her deck has other characters from A Realm Reborn, maybe Thancred, or maybe like Lord Harshfont, or anybody like that. It'd be very cool. Anyway, she is, I don't remember what that color combination is called, but it is white, blue, black. Couldn't tell you. Esper. Ah, see? I remember sometimes. She has Vigilance. And at the beginning of each end step, if a player loses 4 or more life this turn, you can draw a card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with a mana value of 3 or greater, Y'shtola deals 2 damage for each opponent and you gain 2 life. Very cool. And I like the card art for this one too. It's very nice. Honestly, Y'shtola's is probably my favorite of the lot so far. I know there's one more. I'm missing Terra, aren't I? There she is. Terra's Mardu. So that's red, white, black. And she's got Trance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards, and then she gains flying until the end of the turn. Whenever Terra deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2, and if you do, reduce target creature with a power of 3, return target creature with a power of 3 or less from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Ooh. Oh, you could dump something from your hand, and then, I like that. Okay. Honestly, I like the commanders. I don't think anyone is particularly like game-breakingly broken, if I'm looking at it and not misunderstanding anything here. But I like what's going on. And I like the art too. Titus, I think, has the weakest art, objectively speaking. Just looking at it for me, because his looks a little more cartoony than everybody else. But I like it. And if it's anything to go off of, I wonder if the commander decks are going to be themed around the games their commanders come from. So like, will Terra's be all of 6 characters? Like, will we see Kafka and a few other cards? Will Clouds be the Final Fantasy 7 team? You know, will we see a Barrett? Will we see a Vincent? Will we see a Tifa? Will we see a Yuffie? I almost said Luffy there. Same thing with Titus. I want an Orin. If I get 1 card in this whole set, I would like an Orin card specifically. Orzhov would be fine. But, you know, I will also take a Boros Orin. I think a Boros Orin would be pretty cool too. Or Rakdos. Rakdos Orin? You know what I mean? That'd be a good card. Like I said, Thancred too. I think that would be a pretty good one. And you could probably make Thancred also Orzhov. I would argue that one. But that's just mostly because I like those colors. Other characters that I would say we could expect to see in this set, given how this is going. I would not be surprised if we saw Clive from the most recent Final Fantasy entry, as well as Noctis and the boys from Final Fantasy 15. That seems pretty one-to-one for me. I actually would have thought that if Noctis was in, that he would have been an Esper card, just because I feel like those colors, from a thematic standpoint, as well as like what the colors represent, would have done pretty good for Noctis, given like the whole king nature thing. As far as other mechanics and things that the cards might do, the only thing that really came to mind was how they were going to figure out summoners. On the one hand, I was thinking maybe the summons would get added as a god-type archetype, though in the 40k thing, things like the Shard of the Void Dragon were actually just called C'tans, which they are, so I wonder if a new card creature type for Aeons or summons comes out. Though I doubt that. If I had to venture a guess, I actually think that summoner type characters like Yuna will more than likely have some type of mana effect that they have to pay, or tap effect or trigger that will allow them to create a creature token, or maybe something like an army type token that will fulfill the role of being the Aeon. You know, it's something that's more easily accessible or able to be taken down, since it's just a token, as opposed to being like a god with a whole bunch of other indestructible and other crap slapped on top of it. Past that, I would expect to see a few villains. I don't think they're going to pass up on an opportunity to make Sephiroth a card, because You know, it's the one-winged angel. But if I had to venture a guess, we'll probably also get a Jet, because if you're gonna put Titus, you're probably gonna put his dad too. I don't remember all of the Final Fantasy villains off the top of my head. Probably the weapons, at least Omega Weapon. If we're talking about the old spirits or the old summons, an Ifrit, a Titan, a Garuda, you know what I mean? The regular primals that you run into. Probably a Ramuh. I could see a Ramuh happening. Odin is a big one. Bahamut is a big one. Maybe Yojimbo? I'm a big fan of Yojimbo, though I don't like paying him all of my Zenny to get him to instant kill someone, but that's business, right? Final Fantasy X's in it, so maybe. They could also explore a few other options as far as adding weapons from the game as legendary equipment that can be used either by certain characters or with certain requirements, like them being mercenaries or them being monks. Or as far as jobs, maybe they could add jobs as enchantment equipment classes, or enchantment, what are they called? Enchantment auras? There you go. Sorry, I haven't played in a little bit. That would be one way of doing that as well too. Similar to backgrounds or the existing classes from like the D&D set, or possibly from Bloomburrow, like Scavenger's Talent. That's the one card that comes to mind there. Past that, I'd have to say I am actually really excited with what we saw. And like I said, anytime that they don't use the approach of just reskinning an existing card and slapping a new coat of paint on it, I am thoroughly appreciative of. Adding additional cards, even if they are from outside of the original mythos of Magic the Gathering, is a good thing, in my opinion, because it adds further diversity and options when it comes to deck building. Yes, there are staple cards, and there are things that are always going to pop up because people just have stubborn viewpoints. But you know, not every card in your deck is going to be Demonic Tutor. Not everybody can afford a Cyclonic Rift. Sometimes you need to think outside the box. And my favorite thing about Magic the Gathering is that there's just so many cards, because it's been going on so long, that the additions to these ones is, man, it's the best. So keep an eye out for June 13th when the cards release. And hey, there's also a $70 version and a $100 version of these commander decks. I believe one is a collector. Wouldn't know. I usually go for the cheaper bit myself because I want more cards and they're very expensive. Seriously though, I think it's worth looking into the set, and it will more than likely be a little difficult to get your hands on because not everybody that buys into the hobby is pure with their intentions, so buyers beware. That's going to be it for us today on Dynamic Entry and this topic, but let me know what you think. You know, are we going to get other equipment cards? Is this just a terrible process in full, and should we stop doing Universes Beyond? Or do you think that there's another property that is untapped in the Magic the Gathering market that you should have cards of? You know, let me know down below. I'm all open to these kinds of suggestions, and I've been playing card games forever, so I don't mind any new surprises or twists. You know, mix it up a little bit where you can. That's going to be it for me, but you know, I appreciate you stopping and taking the time.